Welcome back to Power Director Made Simple. Today we finish up our discussions about titles. A quick reminder, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. In the last video about titles, we left off with a skateboard video, followed by a long, fast-scrolling credits title. Let's see if we can fix that title up somewhat and make it more readable and presentable. If you take a good look at this title, there is a lot of text, and the easiest way to make it all appear without flying by so fast is to increase the duration of the title from the default 5 seconds to something like 10 seconds or longer. Let's try that and see what it looks like. Just right-click on the title and select Set Duration. I'll change the 5-second default to 10 seconds and hit OK. Now we're going to play the title once again. Well, that was a little more acceptable, but one thing we know is that there is way too much text being presented. Let's get rid of all that extra text by loading the title into Title Designer. Select the title, hit F2. Now your first question may be, where is all that text? The answer is that because it is set to scroll up, all of that text is initially off screen on the bottom, which you can't see right now. Look at the slider gadget on the right side of the preview window. This should tell you that you are only looking at a portion of what's available. Slide the gadget downward to see all of the text box. And there it is, what would be off screen for the initial display. Let's start eliminating some of that text. We're going to delete all of the music. We're going to delete the special thanks. We're going to delete the cast. And all that's left is produced by and directed by. If you are creating home movies for the family and relatives, sometimes these comical ending credits is appropriate, but don't overdo it. Right now, for producer's name, I'm going to enter Alex Sheridan. Get rid of the extra P. And under directed by, I'm going to enter Ken Groot. Now, let's try that. I'm going to hit home and then hit play. Well, with that minimal amount of text to display, it seems too slow for a 10-second duration. So let's go back and set it to the 5-second duration. That can't be changed in Title Director, so we'll have to exit out and go back to Power Director. Once again, right-click on the title and select Set Duration. We're going to change the 10 seconds back to its normal default 5 seconds. And we're going to move the playhead over. We're going to hit play, and we will see how the title now fits. That works out just fine. So you can see it's always a delicate balance between how much text there is to display and how much time is given to display that text. But the entire credits title seems too plain. It has a black background, which means it is probably a transparent background. So let's display something behind that title. In my media room, I have an image of a bunch of skateboarders standing together. So let's use that for a background image. I'm going to drag that image and place it on track 1. Now, let's play the ending once again. Well, that works out good, except I'd rather have the text stand out quite a bit more rather than just the white text. So let's load the title back into Title Designer once again and change the font colors. It's easy to either insert a cursor and hit Control A, or you can just select the entire text box by hovering the mouse over one of the edges till you see the four-sided arrow and just click once. You can tell you've selected the entire text box when there's the little round dots on each corner, which can be used for resizing the text box. Once the entire text box is selected, we can go change the font color by clicking on the white square. Well, it's not a square, the white rectangle, and pick any of our colors from the chart, or we can select any of the character presets that are given to us. I'll select this blue gradient with a black border. I'm going to hit play once again just to test it out. Everything looks good so far, so let's hit OK to exit and return back to Power Director. And just to double check it, we're going to hit play and see how it looks from within Power Director. Just as expected. Everything works as planned. But now I'm going to change things up. I'm going to click on the image in track 1 and I'm going to hit delete. Now if you hit play right now, as you can see, we've lost our background. But here is another way of incorporating the image with the title and the scrolling text. Once again, open the title in Title Designer by hit F2. Because there is no image on the track above this title, only the transparent background of the title shows up as black as expected. At the top, I'm going to click on the icon to insert a background. I'll navigate to the folder where I stored that same image of the group of skateboarders and select it. I'm going to select Stretch, and there we have it. I'm going to click OK to return to Power Director. And now, when we play the title once again, we'll see the same credits in the same background image, only this time the background image has been inserted directly into the title. One last thing about titles. I received an email from a viewer who said that I had glossed over all those parameters requiring keyframes for an object in the title. Let's quickly discuss that and see if I can make this very simple. I'm going to start with a new workspace which clears out the timeline. In the title room, I'm going to drag down everyone's favorite, the default title, down to the timeline. Now we're going to add some special effects and keyframes to this 5-second title. We're going to open it up in Title Designer. The first thing I'm going to do is move the playhead to the 0 position. And for position, I'm going to create a keyframe. You can see it just on the very edge there as red. I'm going to move the text box down to the lower left corner. I'm now going to move the playhead to the very end of this 5 seconds. I'm going to create another keyframe. There you can see it just sticking out on the very end. I'm going to move the text box to the upper right hand corner. I'm going to hit home, and then I'm going to hit play. Now remember, I have one keyframe for the text box down here in the lower left, and another keyframe for the text box up here in the upper right. Power Director is going to create all those little frames in between to move that text box. Let's see if that works. Perfect. Now, let's do something with rotation. I'm going to have the playhead at 0. I'm going to create a keyframe there as my starting position. Keep my title right where it's at. I'm then going to move to about 1/4 of the way through. I'm going to create a keyframe right here. I'm then going to rotate this title, or the text box, 90 degrees. I'm then going to move the playhead to halfway through. I'm going to create another keyframe, and I'm going to rotate it another 90 degrees. I'm going to move the playhead to 3/4 of the way through. Create another keyframe. I'm going to rotate it another 90 degrees. And finally, I'm going to move the playhead to the very end and create one last keyframe. And this time, I'm going to rotate it back to its starting position. Now, if I hit play now, we have two special effects going on. Number one of them is position. It's going to move it from here to the upper right corner. Another one is rotation, set up by these keyframes here. It's going to rotate counterclockwise as it moves. Let's hit play. We're going to hit OK. We're going to return back to Power Director. Now let me remind you that you can try out any of the other special effects, such as the scale, the opacity, and the anchor points. These effects can be applied to text and images. If you've watched all 3 of my videos about titles, then you should now have a good idea about all the various features and what you can do with titles. They are not just a passive poster or a sign in your video. And remember, if you want to add those special features that require keyframes, remember this sequence of events. Number 1, move the playhead to the desired time. Number 2, then create a keyframe. And then number 3, make your adjustments or settings. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.
just as surprised as you.